Dear students, greetings of the day. Today, we will going to study about Introduction to Textiles. What is textile? Textiles have such an important bearing on our daily lives that everyone needs to know something about them. From earliest times, people have used textiles of various types. Today, textiles are still used for various purposes and everyone is an ultimate consumer. Many industries, such as the automobile industry, are important consumers of textiles in various forms. Some other consumers are homemakers, dressmakers, interior decorators, and retail store customers, as well as students who are studying for these and various other occupations and professions in which knowledge of textiles is of major importance. Why learn textile? A study of textiles will show, for example, why certain fabrics are more durable and therefore more serviceable for specific purposes. It will explain why certain fabrics make cool wearing apparel as well as give an impression of coolness when used as decoration. The matter of cleanliness and maintenance must also be estimated before purchasing, when that is an important factor. Complete knowledge of textiles will make it easy to develop the ability to distinguish quality in fabrics and, in turn, to appreciate the proper uses for the different qualities. Competition has fostered the creation of new textile fibers with specific qualities to compete with well-established fibers. New fiber blends have been created to combine many of these qualities into new types of yarns with new trademarks. There are also new names for the fabrics made of these new fibers and yarns. New finishes have been developed to add new and interesting characteristics to fibers, yarns, and fabric. In the study of textiles, the students' initial interest will be when they discover the natural fascination of fabrics and their cultural associations, particularly when factual study is supplemented by actual handling of the textile materials. The subject will seem worthwhile as they become familiar with illustrative specimens and fabrics and begin to handle and learn to compare the raw materials of which fabrics are made as well as the finished consumer's goods. Journey of fabric textile. It begins in agriculture with fiber production of cotton, flax, and other fibrous plants, in husbandry of sheep, other animals, and silkworms, in mining of metals and minerals, in forestry for wood, in chemical research and production of synthetics. These fibers are processed into yarns or fabrics. The yarns are made into fabrics for industrial and consumer uses by various means, such as weaving and knitting. The fabrics are converted into finished cloths, which provide particular appearances and performances. These fabrics are made into end-use products, including apparel, home furnishings, and various industrial applications. These products are then merchandised and sold. Every one of these aspects of the textile industry is a field in itself, and there is interdependency with multiplying effects on other industries. Textiles, especially fabrics, the fundamental component of a ready-made garment, because it is the basic raw material of a garment. So it is important to know the manufacturing sequence of fabric from fiber. The quality product is the main goal at present time. Without knowledge of textile manufacturing, i.e. fiber, yarn and fabrics, it is impossible to maintain the quality of a garment. Before elaborating on whole process of grey fabric manufacturing, let us look on what is textile fiber, yarn and fabric, and what are the process flow chart of textile manufacturing can be described. Normally, textile is a woven fabric, now applied generally to any one of the following staple fibers and filaments suitable for conversion to or use as yarns, or for the preparation of woven, knit, or non-woven fabrics. Yarns made from natural or manufactured fibers. Fabrics and other manufactured products made from fibers as defined above, and from yarns. Garments and other articles fabricated from fibers, yarns, or fabrics when the products retain the characteristic flexibility and drape of the original fabrics. Textile is a very widely used term which includes all kinds of fibers, for example, cotton, jute, wool, polyester, viscose, etc. All kinds of process, for example, spinning, weaving, knitting, dyeing, printing, finishing, etc. All kinds of machineries, for example, spinning machineries, weaving machineries, knitting machineries, dyeing machineries, testing machineries, etc. To convert textile fiber into finished or end-use products, for example, garments, technical textiles, geotextiles, medical textiles, e-textiles, etc. You can see on screen the flow chart of textile processing. Some important definitions. Fiber. It is defined as one of the delicate, hair portions of the tissues of a plant or animal or other substances that are very small in diameter in relation to their length. A fiber is a material which is several hundred times as long as it's thick. Textile fiber. Textile fiber has some characteristics which differ between fiber to textile fiber. Textile fiber can be spun into a yarn or made into a fabric by various methods, including weaving, knitting, braiding, felting, and twisting. The essential requirements for fibers to be spun into yarn include a length of at least 5 mm, flexibility, cohesiveness, and sufficient strength. Other important properties include elasticity, fineness, uniformity, durability, and luster. Banana fiber is one kind of fiber, but it is not a textile fiber, because it cannot fill up the above properties. So we can say that all fiber are not textile fiber. Staple. Staple is the name given to the fibers of limited length. To make a continuous length of yarn, staple fibers have to be twisted together. Staple fibers can range from about 1 centimeter to many centimeters in length, but in no case they ever become long enough to be classified as filament. So the two terms are quite distinct, except for the fact that man-made filaments can be converted into staple fibers by deliberately cutting them into short lengths. This is a very common way of processing man-made fibers, but the reverse process is never carried out. Filament. Filament is the name given to a fibers of continuous length, that is to say, it is long enough to be used in a fabric without increasing its length by adding other fibers to it. An example of natural filament fiber is silk. The cocoon of a silkworm can contain about 360 to 1200 meters, depending on the quality and type of cocoon, of continuous twin filaments. Man-made filaments produced by spinning machines can be many kilometers long. There may be one or many filaments in the yarn, see below, and accordingly they are called monofilament or multifilament. The basic difference between a fiber and a filament is that of the length. Yarn. Yarn is an assemblage of fibers twisted or laid together to form continuous strands suitable for use in weaving, knitting, etc. Yarn can consist of staple fibers, filaments, or combination of the two. Filaments merely need grouping in order to produce the thickness of yarn required, the length being already there in the individual filaments. Grouping of filaments is achieved by twisting them together. The twist, usually quite a small amount, merely serves to keep the filaments reasonably together. Staple fibers have to be twisted to make them adhere into a continuous length of yarn. The action of twisting forces the fiber's surfaces into contact with each other, setting up friction between them which enables them to withstand tension. In this way, a continuous length of yarn can be made even from very short fibers. This type of yarn exerts a strong influence on the texture and appearance of the fabric. In general, filament yarns are thin, smooth and lustrous, and staple fiber yarns are thicker, fibrous and non-lustrous. An excellent example of these different characteristics can be seen by comparing the fibrous nature of the outer wool fabric of a coat or suit jacket with the smooth lustrous surface of the lining of the garments, the wool fabric being made from staple and lining being made from filament. There are many varieties of yarns such as single yarns, fancy yarns, cords and twines. Thread. A thread is 3 or more yarns tightly twisted, singed, dyed and finished to fit into the eye of the needle, or to be hand-knotted, crocheted or tatted. The very extreme type of thread reaches into the area of cords and eventually ropes of all types.